Tonight, breaking news, President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General Matt Gaetz abruptly withdrawing his name, and what ABC News has learned tonight. Also, the major storms on both coasts, they're not over. And the American husband and father of three accused of faking his own death. Tonight, he has sent police a video. First tonight, 24 hours after sounding confident during meetings on Capitol Hill, Matt Gaetz withdrawing as Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General. President-elect Trump has been personally working the phone on Gaetz's behalf. So what happened? What was the turning point? What sources are telling us tonight? Jon Karl standing by with new reporting. Also tonight here, we're tracking these powerful storms hitting both coasts, heavy rain and in some cases snow in the Northeast. The system from Philadelphia to New York to Boston, it's not over. And the major system slamming the west at this hour, turning deadly. Lee Goldberg and the forecast. For the first time, Vladimir Putin firing an intermediate range missile capable of carrying nuclear weapons into Ukraine. Authorities say it did not have them, but it was destructive. And what the U.S. is saying about this tonight. Back here at home, that American husband and father of three accused of faking his death on a lake. Authorities spending weeks searching for him. Tonight, he has sent authorities a video, and now investigators and their message for him right here tonight. The NFL with a new and urgent warning for its players tonight. The list of break-ins, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, the list growing. Is this all coordinated, and who's behind this? Actor Jussie Smollett's conviction for staging a hate crime attack has been overturned tonight, what the court said. The Idaho college murders, the major ruling tonight on whether Ryan Kohberger, accused of killing 4 students, should face the death penalty. A nationwide ground beef recall tonight, we'll have it. And the couple married 58 years, and the discovery at a thrift store. The buyer thought they bought a vintage jazz record, and what they heard instead. We'll play it right here for you tonight.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and we begin tonight with President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General Matt Gaetz suddenly bowing out today. Gaetz issuing a statement saying his confirmation was, quote, unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. Just 24 hours earlier, Gaetz was on Capitol Hill appearing confident, escorted by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance to meet with Republican senators. Gaetz had been the subject of an ethics investigation in the House over allegations he paid young women for sex, including a minor, a 17-year-old girl. Gaetz denies it all. Sources telling ABC News it became clear in these last 24 hours that at least 4 Republican senators would not support Gaetz. He could not afford to lose that support. ABC's Jon Karl with new reporting tonight on Matt Gaetz, on President-elect Donald Trump, and who next for Attorney General.
Just this morning, Matt Gaetz was still pushing hard to get confirmed as Attorney General. But tonight, he is out of the running, withdrawing from consideration, saying he didn't want to be a distraction to the new administration. 24 hours ago, he was sounding confident.
It's been going great. Senator's been giving me a lot of good advice. I'm looking forward to a hearing. Folks have been very supportive.
Gaetz dropped out shortly after speaking to President-elect Trump late this morning. His nomination rocked by allegations he used drugs and paid young women for sex, including a 17-year-old girl, which Gaetz strenuously denies. But sources say at least 4 Republican senators privately made it clear to the Trump transition team they would not support Gaetz, making his confirmation all but impossible. It is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition, Gaetz said in a statement. There is no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I will be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Shortly after, Trump posted his own statement saying, quote, I greatly appreciate the recent efforts of Matt Gaetz in seeking approval to be Attorney General. He was doing very well, but at the same time, did not want to be a distraction for the administration. At least some Senate Republicans expressed relief.
Well, I mean, there's a sense of relief about it, of course. I mean, simple math, I think it was made clear that there's not a path, and if there's not a path, you're going to spend a lot of political capital for a losing cause, and it wouldn't have been worth it.
As this was happening, another embattled cabinet nominee was meeting senators on Capitol Hill. Trump's pick for Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, an Army veteran and weekend Fox News anchor, engulfed in his own controversy. A police report released hours earlier spelled out in graphic detail a woman's allegation that Hegseth sexually assaulted her in 2017.
We take absolutely nothing for granted. and we welcome the opportunity to talk to any senator that wants to talk to us.
In the police report from Monterey, California, a woman who met Gaetz at a conservative conference told authorities he cornered her in a hotel room, took her phone, and, quote, blocked the door with his body, preventing her from leaving. She said he sexually assaulted her and that she remembered saying no a lot. Gaetz denied the allegations and told police what happened in the hotel that night was consensual.
I'll keep this very simple. The matter was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you.
According to the report, police recommended this case be forwarded to the local district attorney for review and possible prosecution. Gaetz was never charged with a crime, but his attorney says he later paid a settlement to the woman to keep her from going public with the allegations because he feared they would hurt his career as a television anchor. Sources say Trump was not aware of the allegations when he nominated Gaetz to lead the Pentagon. Today, some of the senators Gaetz met with expressed support for his nomination.
I think he's going to be in pretty good shape.
Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma seemed to brush aside the allegations in that police report.
When you read it, you can clearly see that it was two people flirting with each other.
Well, it also said she couldn't get out of the room.
Well, that's one person's opinion.
Well, from President-elect Trump's pick for the head of the Pentagon back to Attorney General tonight, because with Matt Gaetz bowing out, John, there's some breaking news at this hour about the President-elect's new pick for the job.
Yeah, we are literally just hearing this, David. Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General for the state of Florida. Trump says he will nominate her to be his Attorney General. Pam Bondi is somebody who Trump has known for a long time, long been a member of his inner circle, somebody that was actually part of his defense team during the first impeachment trial on the Senate floor, a true Trump loyalist for Attorney General.
Jonathan Karl with the late breaking news. John, thank you as always. We're going to turn now to the major storm slamming both coasts tonight. Rain and in some places snow intensifying in the northeast, while in the west what's called a bomb cyclone and an atmospheric river have been deadly. Lee is standing by with the forecast for us, and Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman with the images of the storms on both coasts tonight.
Tonight, that desperately needed rain finally soaking the northeast. Umbrellas out in force in New York City for the first time in months.
Wet again tomorrow, but we're getting the most rain today. Right now, it is soggy area-wide.
The rain will ease the fire danger that's been plaguing the northeast, but it's not enough to end the drought. Overnight, this storm spawning a confirmed tornado in Pittsburgh. Powerful winds there knocking down trees.
I got up, and as I was coming to the back, I saw out our side window the black cloud.
That massive swirling system also ushering in the first snow of the season for millions from the Midwest to the Northeast. The conditions treacherous, multiple crashes outside Chicago. Meanwhile, in the West, after knocking out power to hundreds of thousands in Washington state, killing 2 people, that other swirling system now funneling a fire hose of rain into Northern California, flooding fields and homes, swamping roads.
6 inches of water moving this quickly can knock you off your feet.
Absolutely. Lose your balance and move a vehicle. It can lift a vehicle and move it off the roadway.
And along the burn scars across California tonight, the risk of mudslides.
David, they're cleaning up this mudslide. There have been many small mudslides around roads like this across this part of Northern California. Sonoma Airport getting more rain than on any day in 25 years, and this system is going to basically sit and spin right off the Pacific Northwest, dumping more rain through the middle of next week. David.
A real mess on both coasts, Matt. Thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg of WABC. And Lee, a second round of rain and winter weather alerts right here in the Northeast tonight.
David, a rare and welcome soggy scene here in New York. We have a fresh inch of rain and counting, and this wet weather is going to turn wintry inland. Winter storm warnings are out from the Poconos and Catskills into the mountains of West Virginia. Advisories go within 25 miles of New York City. We could get up to a couple inches additional rainfall along the coast, but up to 12 inches of snow could actually fall above 1,500 feet in the Poconos and Catskills. Now out west, that bomb cyclone, it's still going strong. It's reeling in that atmospheric river into the west coast. That high-risk flood event, that's going to go into Friday morning, an additional 6 inches of rain in the mountains of Northern California, maybe an additional foot. David, basically these storms are just at halftime.
Lee Goldberg with us again tonight. Lee, thank you. And tonight here, an ominous new escalation in the war in Ukraine. For the first time, Vladimir Putin firing an intermediate-range missile capable of carrying nuclear weapons into Ukraine. Authorities say it did not have them, but it was destructive. and what the U.S. is now saying about this tonight. Ian Pannell from inside Ukraine again tonight.
Tonight, in a defiant warning to the world, Russia carrying out an unprecedented attack with an intermediate-range ballistic missile fired against Ukraine. Those ominous streaks of light falling from the night sky over the eastern city of Dnipro, targeting a military-industrial complex. A U.S. official confirming that new missile containing multiple warheads capable of striking several targets at the same time.
This was a new type of lethal capability that was employed on the battlefield.
But Vladimir Putin tonight saying the attack was a response to strikes by Ukraine using American and British long-range missiles against Russia, the latest attack wounding a senior North Korean general. The US says it was alerted by Russia shortly before today's launch. Military analysts telling ABC News each one of those streaks of light could have been something even far more dangerous.
Putin wanted the world to see these incoming flashes of light, these individual warheads that could have been armed with nuclear weapons. Clearly, this is a nuclear threat to the U.S. and its European allies.
Tonight, President Zelensky saying the world must now respond.
David, after a week of escalation, Putin now also appearing to directly threaten the U.S., saying Russia could attack any country, allowing Ukraine to use their missiles to strike Russia. David?
Ian Pannell in Kyiv for us. Ian, thank you. Back here in the U.S. tonight into the case of that Wisconsin husband and father of three accused of faking his own death on a lake. They searched for weeks. Tonight, he has now sent authorities a video confirming he is alive. And investigators here at home now have a message for him. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, authorities say the Wisconsin father who faked his death is living in Eastern Europe. 45-year-old Ryan Borgwardt sending investigators this proof of life video.
I'm in my apartment. I am safe, secure.
In August, Borgwardt vanishing from this lake in Wisconsin. Volunteers searching for weeks. But authorities later learning the father of three faked his death to convince his wife and children that he had died so he could start a new life in Europe with a woman he'd met online.
He paddled his kayak in a child-sized floating boat out into the lake. He overturned the kayak and dumped his phone in the lake. He paddled the inflatable boat to shore.
Borgwardt then riding an e-bike overnight to Madison, where he boarded a bus to Detroit, crossed the Canadian border, and hopped on an international flight. Authorities now communicating with Borgwardt daily, pleading for him to return home for the holidays.
Christmas is coming, and what better gift he could give his kids is to be there for Christmas with them.
David Borgwardt could face a state obstruction charge for faking his death. He may also have to pay for the time and money spent on the search. David.
Stephanie Ramos with us here. Stephanie, thank you. Tonight, the NFL with a new warning for its players after break-ins at players' homes in 4 states now, including Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. The list is growing. Is this all coordinated? Here's our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, and what he's learned tonight.
After a rash of recent burglaries targeting the homes of sports superstars like Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes and tight end Travis Kelce, tonight the NFL is warning players to protect themselves.
Kelce again.
This memo obtained by ABC News says the burglars are organized and skilled and appear to exploit team schedules and target athletes' homes on game days.
This is going to be for all of the Super Bowl trophies.
Mahomes and his wife showed off their home for the Netflix documentary series Quarterback.
Do you think this fits all my shoes?
Now, the NFL is urging players to avoid posting images of their residence or expensive items. Sources tell ABC News police in 4 states are investigating the possibility a South American crime ring is behind the string of break-ins that also targeted pro basketball players Mike Conley and Bobby Portis.
I am now offering a $40K cash reward.
South American crime rings have been blamed for a growing number of burglaries, targeting not just athletes, but luxury homeowners in several states. David, I spoke tonight to the security director for one of the teams who said these burglars know where to go, they know where to look, and they're in and out of these homes in less than 15 minutes.
David, just incredible. Aaron Katersky tonight. Aaron, thank you. Now to a major turn in the case of actor Jussie Smollett, who was convicted of lying about being the victim of a racist and homophobic attack in Chicago. Well, tonight, 5 years later, the conviction has been thrown out. Alex Perez from Chicago.
Tonight, the stunning reversal in the alleged hate crime hoax that made headlines around the world. Actor Jussie Smollett claimed he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack in 2019. Authorities accusing him of staging the assault, a jury finding him guilty. But tonight, the Illinois Supreme Court ordering that conviction be overturned because an earlier deal should have barred him from being prosecuted. The court saying a second prosecution under these circumstances is due process violation, and we therefore reverse defendant's conviction. In 2019, Smollett, then a star in the hit show Empire, alleged he was attacked by two men who hurled slurs and tied a noose around his neck. Investigators later charging Smollett, accusing him of hiring his alleged attackers and masterminding the incident.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one.
Smollett reaching a deal with prosecutors, agreeing to a fine and community service. But after that initial deal, following public outcry, a special prosecutor charged Smollett in the case, and a jury convicted him. He spent 6 days in jail.
And David, tonight, the special prosecutor who took this case to trial saying in a statement, today's decision does not clear Jussie Smollett's name, adding very bluntly, he is not innocent. David?
Alex Perez in Chicago for us. Alex, thank you. When we come back here, the news after that slashing attack in New York City on the Upper West Side. Also a major ground beef recall tonight for the nation. And the find in a thrift store. They thought it was a vintage jazz record. What they found instead. Tonight news, a suspect in that knife attack on New York's Upper West Side is now in custody. His mother seeing him on the news and calling police. Authorities say surveillance video shows Joshua Zinberg running along 86th Street near Columbus Avenue, a knife in his left hand. He's accused of stabbing and wounding a tourist. Zinberg now undergoing a mental health evaluation. Tonight, a major ruling in the Idaho college murder case. The judge refusing to take the death penalty off the table. Brian Kohberger, accused of killing 4 college students in an off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho. His lawyers had argued the death penalty violates his constitutional rights. When we come back here, the major new beef recall tonight. Also, the winningest coach in NCAA history and what they presented to him for this in a moment. To the index of other news, a nationwide beef recall over possible E. coli contamination. 167,000 pounds of ground beef products distributed by the Wolverine Packing Company. Authorities say the beef was shipped to restaurants across the country. Tonight, UConn women's basketball coach Geno Auriemma is now the winningest coach in NCAA history. He won his 1,217th game last night. More than 60 former players were there to watch the historic moment. And look at this, the greatest of all time, presented with an actual goat on the court. When we come back here tonight, the shopper at a thrift store who bought a vintage jazz record, but what she heard instead in a moment. Finally tonight here, America Strong, one incredible find at the thrift store. Tonight, the story of a woman who bought this vintage jazz record. But inside, look closely at the vinyl record label. It says Phil's and Donna's wedding, August 21st, 1966. This wasn't jazz. It was someone's lost treasure. That shopper, Katie Ornelas, right there with her family, found the record near Austin, Texas at a thrift store. She played the record at home, and they were all moved by what they heard instead.
Dear Donna and Phil, we have assembled here today so that you two may be united for life as husband and wife.
Then, the wedding song. That shopper, Katie, was determined to find the couple, telling friends, family, the thrift shop, the local news, and incredibly, a family friend who knew of Donna and Phil got in touch with the family. They knew that Donna and Phil now live in Denver. And right here tonight.
Hi, David.
Donna and Phil Schmidt, married 58 years.
Thank you for inviting us to talk about the kindness of strangers on America Strong. I love this feature.
It turns out they accidentally sold the recording when they moved from Austin. And we've learned tonight that next week, both of these families are getting together over Thanksgiving to give that wedding recording back. Right here, too.
Hi, David.
The shopper who bought the record thinking it was jazz, getting a handful of new friends instead.
The amazing part about this story for me is just the new friends that we've made along the way.
We are so grateful. We can't wait to get back that treasure. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye-bye.
And they're going to get that record over Thanksgiving. I'm David Muir. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.